Hello, David. This is Jack O'Connell with the Baseball Writers Association of America. I'm calling you from Cooperstown, New York, to let you know that the baseball writers have elected you to the National Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yes!
Everybody, Joseph Francis here, your friendly neighborhood sports host of Fan2Fan, and we are back, and it is awesome to be back at full strength. We're going to get to Calvin in a bit. He is here in virtual land. He had to go back to virtual land because, unfortunately, we loved him too much while he was in personal land. Now he's just running in fear in virtual land. You see how that got twisted and turned? I was being nice, and then I was being salty. I'm like a Sour Patch Kid. That's what I am. That being said, we are here with another episode of Fan2Fan. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and join our 2,000 subscribers. It was so weird because we were at 2,000, and then it went down to 1996, and then it went back up to 2,000. So we'll celebrate it again. We're at 2,000 one more time. Tell a friend, increase our growth, and join the revolution. Is it a revolution? Kind of, maybe. I don't know. It is. It is. We're having fun doing this. This is fun. We love everything. We got a bunch of people in the chat. We want you to keep it sassy and saucy in the chat. Talk about everything. Just don't make fun of my beard because I got abused last week because Calvin wasn't here and they just took it out on me. That's what they did. They just said, you forced Calvin away. Calvin, how does it good to feel to be back?
Yo, look, first of all, I was having problems like I was the Wizards and life was the Clippers. But call me Luke Kennard, baby, because I'm clutch. I'm back.
You're back. I love it. I love the way you have the sunglasses on your things. You should put them on.
Future's bright, baby. You know what I'm saying? Hold on for y'all who don't know. This how bright our future is. This how bright the future is.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying? So this is what for the rest of the episode I'm gonna have to put these on because the future's bright, and so I just can't look into virtual land without these on because this is where we're going to the moon. Another reference.
I love it. I love it. But we are going to shout out because, we're going to shout out because Heidi's going to shout out. Actually, I'm going to put us on a double shot. What? Yeah. And everybody in the chat just noticed that her daughter, my stepdaughter, got into Columbia University's program for high school students. So she's already a college student halfway through high school.
We just found out, like, right before the show started. It's a program on physics and materials of the future.
Yes.
So she is smarter than me. Like,
she is.
Definitely.
She is. And she's going to rule the world, and she should just appreciate the accolades that she's going to get. By the way, and I want to say this really quick, she had another university that was courting her, Northeastern University. Sorry, bro. Northeastern, you can't touch this fire. That's the bottom line.
She's amazing. Now I just have to have a series of bake sales to be able to afford the incredibly expensive tuition for this summer program.
Yeah.
And so it begins.
Yes, it's the truth. It's the truth.
It's fine. Please hit the like button. Please.
Hit the like button. Because we're not making money on this channel. We do this for fun, but we would like to make money on this channel one day. If people would just watch, like it's so. I just want to vent, and I'm sorry. I'm gonna vent for 1 second. Because, yes, we were started off on such a good, positive note, and that's amazing. But no, because now we want to move it. Do you want to embarrass your daughter for the rest of the show?
No, I'm just saying.
Oh, my God, you should mention it every 5 minutes.
No, we're going to just do it. We're going to just, I thought we were going to have the power of positivity. We're going
to have the power of positivity, except I'm going to have 10 seconds of realism. We had almost 1,200 watch hours, and that is the thing that is stopping this channel from making some dough and some return on investment. And then all of a sudden YouTube took away like 30 view hours. Then they took away another 20, and then they took away another 15. And I wrote them 2 emails and got no response. It's really horrible. That's all I'm gonna say. I kept it that was quick.
That's because the robot overlords at Google really don't have time to answer your emails.
I know. It's really sad. Can you remember a day where people would customer service? You could get on a call with customer service, and I hated customer service.
I don't remember that. I'm too young.
Exactly. Well, I remember those. I remember rotary phones.
Yeah.
If it helps, I can sell my cookies.
Yeah,
Can't.
Is that like a euphemism for something, or you mean like actual cookies?
Can you
I mean, whichever cookies we need to make. Look, it's rough out there. You know what I'm saying? It's rough.
Can you sell brownies?
Anything for Annika is what I'm saying.
Yes.
I'm willing to work the corner for you, Annika.
You will not.
You better appreciate it.
We don't know what's in that.
Yeah. Hold up. We'll just talk later.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Okay, we'll talk about that offline. Y'all don't pay attention to what I just said. Maybe, unless you got money. If you got money, listen. If you don't,
That's fantastic. But we got to get to the sports of the knowledge. I love that. But there's an issue. We started off the show with an amazing moment in the terms of the Baseball Hall of Fame. And the Baseball Hall of Fame, for those who don't know, celebrates a career and a lifelong dedication to excellence. And it is a consistent level. And most careers in baseball last 20 years. And it's a consistent career of you putting up good numbers and you're staying at the top, and it only is for the select few. So to see David Ortiz, Big Papi, who is a Boston Red Sox player, and those know I don't like the Boston Red Sox. I will say the Boston Red Sox did 2 things that I appreciated. One, when Derek Jeter was retiring, they really did an amazing video package and celebration of him as a player, and he's a Yankee. They're not supposed to do that, but all the Boston fans, kudos to the Boston fans, stood up, gave him a standing ovation. Well, same thing happened at Yankee Stadium. David Ortiz, when he was retiring, got that same standing ovation, even though he killed us so many times. But we respect skill, right? Like, that's the bottom line. And now it has been solidified. He is the newest member of the Baseball Hall of Fame. Now, I'm going to take a moment to acknowledge something. In the last couple of years, Hall of Fames across the sports world, I've kind of felt like have fallen off in terms of their celebration. Don't get me wrong. The Basketball Hall of Fame the last couple of years, especially with the induction of Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, and celebrating, unfortunately, the morning of his 2-year death, the fact of the matter is that the Hall of Fame has celebrated some top names: basketball, baseball, football, and hockey. One of the things that has bothered me, and it has been a fan thing that has happened, is that fans are just letting any old body into the Hall of Fame. Just anybody. They're just like, here you go. You can get into the Hall of Fame. Here you go. You can get into the Hall of Fame. I love Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson is my favorite NBA current player. He's not a Hall of Famer. On social media, apparently he is. Apparently everybody who's a cornerstone, like a prisoner of the moment, is basically saying that Klay Thompson is a Hall of Famer. To me, he hasn't done enough. To me, in order to get into the Hall of Fame, you have to make sure that you have done a career's worth. And I'm talking about the longevity of putting up those numbers. He's only been in the league since 2013, and he has put up numbers, but not staggering numbers. And Big Papi has put up staggering numbers. His numbers were pretty simple. He put up home runs. He put up RBIs. To put that into perspective, there's only about 2 or 3 dozen baseball players that have reached 500 plus home runs. That's not something that's done all the time. Maybe 4 dozen. I don't know. It's been in the clear minority. And those RBI numbers are pretty stagnant. His slugging percentage, most baseball players finish with a career slugging percentage under 500. He was above 500. And the 2 things that really stand out is that number 2, which means he only played for two teams, the team that drafted him and then the team that signed him after when he was a free agent. He stayed with that team the entire time. I see that and I say commend his loyalty, because that's not something that's done most oftentimes than not. And his longevity, 2,400 plus games. That tells me that the man took care of his body, that the man played baseball, and he did it right. Now, The thing about David Ortiz that is a soil on his record is that he did test positive for steroids. And steroids, unfortunately, has soiled the game. Here's the difference, and we're going to do the comparison a bit later on to this topic, between him and a few people who have not gotten in and are now disqualified from ever being considered to be in the Hall of Fame. David Ortiz admitted to taking steroids. After he admitted to taking steroids, he got clean and didn't take it again. Now, the one thing I will say is that his numbers did take a drop, but he played a few more years after he admitted it and was being tested on a regular basis. And I think that goes a far, long way. I think that makes him worthy of getting in the Hall of Fame, is that admittance and that taking responsibility for something he did wrong. Andy Pettitte is in that club as well. He, in my book, is a Hall of Famer. But the thing I want to acknowledge is that the Hall of Fame is something that is not given to everybody, and it should only be for the very best, the legends, the people that nobody else can touch. That's what the Hall of Fame should be. It should be a celebration of almost perfection. It should be a celebration of the utmost fantastic greatness that you can always count on to give you the best and brightest. That's what David Ortiz is. That's why he deserves to be there, joining on names like Babe Ruth, like Derek Jeter, like one of the people who he represents his ball club, Ted Williams, who's the only player in the history of baseball to bat over 400 for a season. Now, that being said, I bring the triple shot to it. We're going to get to another aspect of the Hall of Fame, which is the darker aspect. But I will tell you right now, what do you think David Ortiz, what do you think his legacy is? Was it deserved? And do we want to hold any kind of asterisk or footnote because he took steroids? Who wants to go first? Calvin should go first. You haven't been here for a while.
Boom. No, first off, David Ortiz has to be my favorite non-Yankee ever. Like, I absolutely love that dude, even while he was actively playing on Boston. Like, somehow I wanted the Yankees and David Ortiz to win. I don't even know how that works. I'm not even sure how that works, but it does. If I am correct, and I believe Marcus alluded to it, he actually did not test positive for it. He was linked to it, but never tested positive. I don't think there should be an asterisk. He was just a consummate baseball player, right? Like, he played hard. There was never any real outside scandals with him, right? Because that plays into it. Like, we all agree on this show that your off the court helps with your on the court also, right? Like you can't just be a good player and a crappy person. And it seems like he never was a crappy person, a great baseball player, a great teammate, great opponent. You know what I'm saying? And his numbers happen to line up with it and speak with it. And I'll say this about the Hall of Fame in general. Well, at least numbers-wise with baseball, that helps when people break those records because the game hasn't changed so much. So that's one of the good things for it, that, since the game hasn't changed in 1,400 years, that, when they break a record, it stands. But, with the voting, the problem is you don't have consistent voters, or the voters don't have the same mindset, it seems. You know what I mean? So, like, it seems to be inconsistent. And I know we're going to talk about it later. But with the other guys who didn't make it, that seemed to be a lot less about performance than it did, more personal feelings towards the actual people, which I'm not sure if they should be constantly held back from an accolade such as that, because I do think that those people are actually Hall of Fame worthy. So that's what I'm gonna say about that. Yes, so Big Papi, no asterisks.
I want to correct something right now. So he never tested positive. He was linked. His name was on a list that that was hundreds of baseball players' names of taking steroids, and all of the names that were on that list it was hundreds, and most of them came out and said, yeah, that I was on the list, I took steroids. So why do we think...
So he said that he had a positive result that he thought was from a legal substance that he was taking at the time. And
I don't believe that.
Rob Manfred actually said, yes, that was possible, and they just never really pursued it.
Okay, so here's the thing. Yes, it's possible. Here's my point. He was on a list that came to light, and he was on a list that was steroids. And the thing that I want to say is that he did admit that he took something that was weird. So, like, maybe he took it. And I do say it's possible for athletes to take stuff accidentally and not know. Because a lot of these athletes, and unfortunately, and I'm going to say, it's a lot of Spanish athletes coming from other countries that are not really believing about, you know, the personal attention to their body and the way that other athletes of other cultures believe. They just come in there and say, if I work out, hit the gym, ball out, I'm going to be good. They don't know. And if somebody says, here, take a nutrition or whatever, like, they're great. And they do it, and they don't do the research, and they don't hire a nutritionist, and they don't do those things. That it's kind of a common thing. More and more young stars are starting to do that because they're learning the lessons of past generations. I'm going to let Heidi get in on this, but I will say the fact that his name was on a list, to me, says you're positive. And it was on a list that mostly everybody who came out and admitted it was on that list. And so I'm going to put him in that group. I'm going to say that he owned up to it to the best of his knowledge. And what I will say is that he played 3 more years after the list came out. And he played 3 more years, and his numbers dwindled. His numbers dwindled a little bit. So yeah.
I mean, I think Calvin kind of nailed it, right? That it isn't a consistent standard that's being applied. There's no question that part of why some players are being penalized for steroid use, well, it was sort of common knowledge that lots of players were using steroids in that era, is that basically people don't like how they have reacted, like how they've responded. I mean, part of it is, and I know you're going to show the pictures, right? It's like, we have eyes, dude. Like we can all tell that you were using steroids. And part of the frustration, I think, with the public is like the failure to kind of own it, right? When it's just so damn obvious in a couple of cases that people are on steroids. It's like, dude, just say it. Yeah. And that has created ill will toward them. I mean, Calvin, to your point, like it's kind of like, well, because we kind of don't like how you dealt with it, we're going to penalize you, whereas other people we're kind of more okay with. And, you know, another example, he's not one of the ones we're going to show pictures of, but, like, and I don't mind, I was joking in the chat, but I'm not totally joking. Like, I really don't like Kurt Schilling. And so, like, the fact that he also was one of these, like, and again, like, why don't I like Kurt Schilling? It's nothing to do with him as a baseball player. He's just an ass. And, like, and so, like, I'm not going to cry about the fact that he didn't make it, you know, because he's just terrible. Like, he's just a terrible person.
No, yeah, he did. And I didn't think his numbers. He had like 5 or 6 dominant seasons. Then the rest of them were just really good. Like, and
I mean, and you could make the argument he didn't deserve it. Period. But I'm like, there's just no question that there were in some people's minds, like, I'm not voting for that guy. He's an ass.
I want to address something in the chat that's being said. I at first I did. I'm going to take back what I said. I said it was a bit racist. No, it's not a bit racist, because I know my culture. I've been friends with people of Hispanic background since I was a child, and I know people I've heard people of Hispanic background, Puerto Rican, Dominican, South American, Central American, that when you say, hey, you should go see a nutritionist, they look at you, laugh, and say, you're out of your you know what, like, F you, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that whack, corny stuff, you know? That's what, and obviously putting some millennials, and they make fun of it, because they're like, yo, I've seen it, I've heard it, I actually have done it. I've said, I don't need that, and that's what I'm talking about. So, what we are talking about, and what we are kind of bringing to light, and this is the thing, you know, David Ortiz, I'm not taking anything away from this man. This man was great. This man, I thought his biggest feature that of him being as amazing as he was that he was clutch. I swear, every time he was in Yankee Stadium and they were down 2 runs and had 3 men on base, he would hit a grand slam home run. Every single time. It felt like he was so clutch. He was so bottom of the knife. I used to say Derek Jeter's biggest thing was that he was clutch. And that's what it is. And now he's in the Baseball Hall of Fame for the class of 2022. And I love it. And it's amazing. And he deserves it. And I'm going to say he deserves it. Now, every time you talk about the Baseball Hall of Fame, it is a consistent feature that we're going to talk about Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens. And they don't deserve to be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. That's my opinion. I'm going to see what the other hosts think about that. In my opinion, they don't. And here's the reason why. The reason is simple, and it's a very eye test, right? This is Barry Bonds for the Pittsburgh Pirates. I believe that picture was taken about 1988, 89, 90. It was the late 80s, early 90s. And then he went to the Giants. And in the course from season to season, about a 6 or 7 month time frame, because the Pittsburgh Pirates did not make they made the playoffs but got eliminated early, so they were on vacation early October. He showed up at spring training for the Pirates a little bit bigger, and by the time he got to the Giants the following season, he was diesel. And that's the eye test. That's what we see. That's what always happens. And then you look at Roger Clemens. Roger Clemens was another one. On the Boston Red Sox, skinny kid. You know, he was in his mid-20s. He was 25 by this point. And he had muscle. And then we get to this situation and, you know, he's still skinny. He gets to the Yankees. Yeah, he's a little pudgy, but there's more muscle there. And that is the eye test. That is, you are doping. You are taking PEDs. And the problem, and this is the reason why I don't believe that they belong in the Hall of Fame, is because they never admitted it. There were so many people that said they did it. There was eye tests. Their numbers were crazy. Barry Bonds was amazing. And the thing that I can't stand about this is if you would have just admitted it, took responsibility, and said that this was what you did, I would have forgiven you. You know why? Because one, everybody was doing it back then. That was that generation of steroids. And two, steroids can teach your body to heal. Steroids can make you bigger, but steroids can't teach you the skill to do what you do. And both Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds' natural talent for the game of baseball was off the charts. Roger Clemens was unhittable in his heyday. Barry Bonds, they were walking him with bases loaded because they didn't want him to hit a grand slam home run. And every time he was pitched to with the bases loaded or men on base, he was hitting home runs. It was insane. Steroids doesn't teach you bat speed and hand-eye coordination and pitch and holding the pitch and making it spin. Steroids doesn't do that. It just heals you and it makes you bigger. I felt like I can forgive somebody from that age using steroids because everybody was doing it. And Andy Pettit's the perfect example. Andy Pettit is literally in my book a Hall of Famer because he admitted that he used steroids and he didn't use it again. And that he took responsibility. My opinion doesn't. Heidi, do you agree or disagree?
It's so hard, but I mean, like, so Will's here in the chat.
Very nice. And by the way, he makes a very good point that
did.
steroids weren't illegal at that time. So, you know, once
Right.
again.
And that their performance was actually, I mean, to the extent that you can tell when they started using them, it's not like they were bad players before. They were great, right? So and you do have it, like, it's the fairness issue. It all comes down to like what you know, fairness, right? And obviously, using performance enhancing drugs is to some extent inherently not fair. But what's also not fair is to penalize some players for having been caught because we kind of don't like the way they handled it, and then other players, well, we're gonna let you in the Hall of Fame because, you know, like. It's just like people were doing it all the time. These dudes were huge. So many of them, right?
Yeah.
I will say Big Papi was always big. Like, he seemed like an always big dude, whereas like some of these guys you could see the, and it's just I think that again, like, I think the reaction is coming from, we're just so angry that you guys were so clearly doing this and you just wouldn't say it. Like, yeah. And is that a good reason to keep someone out of the Hall of Fame? I mean, at this point, this was their last. Their last chance. They can get in by committee and stuff. There is other ways in. Yeah. And maybe at some point, you know, they will. But yeah, I mean, I guess I really genuinely feel torn, and I know you like me to vote. But like, I genuinely
this is one of those topics I'm not gonna.
Reasonable
it's
people
different.
Can disagree because I get it from both sides.
And this is the proof I know I'm paying attention to you speaking, and I'm paying attention. It's like as you're talking about this, and I'm thinking the one double standard here about this subject is that, so if you're gonna say Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens shouldn't get into the Hall, then and obviously Pete Rose was another one who, for gambling, didn't
Right.
ever touch baseball ever again. Like, he's never managed, he's never anything. And I thought that was very unfair because I felt like it should have been like a 10-year ban or something. Like, it should have been something significant, but not a lifetime. I thought that was really excessive. But I just hate the fact that you were using steroids, and everybody, and there's so many players that said, yeah, I was using it, and you guys, it's almost like they don't know they were doing it. They've convinced themselves, and not, to me, it's very delusional.
Of excuses.
It's a
And
lot of
nobody likes
excuses, and
right?
I don't like that. I just feel like you're not. To me, the Hall of Fame, like I said in my opening monologue, the Hall of Fame is about greatness. It's about you're legendary. You're a step above every other player to play the game.
I will tell you, and Calvin, this is related to something you said. Like, I would be more comfortable with saying we weren't letting them in the Hall of Fame, not because they did steroids, but because we thought it was that their behavior in the wake of that scandal and like not owning up to it, whatever, that's just not sportsmanship. Like, like I would be more comfortable with saying, like, we don't like that you refuse to accept accountability, and that's not something we wanna honor in the game. But not the steroid use itself, because I feel like that was a time. What was happening at that time. It's about
you not admitting it. And by the way, I'm gonna Calvin get in there, but Will makes an amazing point, and I want to tell you, this is why I love his intelligence. It's amazing. Yeah, this is the point. When you go through Ty Cobb, who's in the Hall of Fame, open racist, we all know that. We saw it in 42, the movie. We saw it in other points of history and documentaries. And you say that the answer, the excuse there is, well, back then baseball was racist.
Well, then it should be the same excuse for these guys.
And it should be the same excuse. Here's my answer to that. He shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. That's not putting you above all the rest. In order to be in the Hall of Fame, you got to be better than everyone. That's saying you're better than everyone, and I think that should be revisited. I'm going to be honest with you. And the one thing I don't know, and then I'm going to be quiet so Calvin can talk. The one thing I don't know is, was there a point where Ty Cobb made amends, apologized, actually stopped being a racist, actually realized he was wrong, or was he just a racist even after he retired? I don't know.
I think lifelong. I'm pretty sure lifelong racist. Will
which in that case he should not be there. But Calvin, please.
Yeah,
the floor.
I believe he stopped being a racist when he stopped breathing. So that's the thing. And I can't speak for the other guys, but the blasphemy, that we had about Barry Bonds. See, this is what you don't understand. See, you're looking at it from the wrong angle, right? First off, we're all wrestling fans here. All of us co-host and all that other stuff. So I don't know how you couldn't see that Barry Bonds was just in character. When he was with the Pirates, he had the Jerry curl in the earring. He was trying to be a pirate. So when he came to the Giants, he became a Giant. What's the problem is, B?
Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing he didn't go to the Indians, because that could have been real uncomfortable.
I think he's a little too. I think his skin tone was. No, I'm just playing. No, but the bigger problem is the sport of baseball as a whole, right? Because once you start to overturn one area, you got to overturn a lot of areas, and then you got to look with a fine-tooth comb to see, is the sport of baseball as a whole more corrupt than we know? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
it is.
So yeah, right. So you got to have have a consistent standard. What would that be? I'm not sure. But if you had somewhat more of a consistent standard, at least to say, do you at least generally pass this as far as numbers go, and situations play into that, but character, is that something that we're going to look at, right? Like, the person's actual character. Is the character Hall of Fame worthy?
Listen,
right?
It should be.
Or maybe even just like, are there something about your character that's so deeply disqualifying that you shouldn't
like
it's the standard doesn't have to be that high, right?
Here's the thing.
Not raging racist is like not a high bar.
Here's the thing. I'm not raging racist. He shouldn't be in Cooperstown. And I look at Lawrence Taylor in the NFL, and then we're gonna move on to the next topic. We're running dangerously late. Lawrence Taylor, known drug user, he committed crimes, but as far as I know, never murdered anybody, never like raped anybody. I'm sure there's probably sexual assault allegations at some point, but that's never proven. So we'll say, okay, no. He cleaned up. And by the time he got to the Hall of Fame, he had found God again. He was very like he was 4 or 5 years sober at that point. So it's like once again, to me, you take responsibility. If you're these two guys, you take responsibility. But I want to just call attention and leave it on a great note, and to say that David Ortiz deserves it, and I believe that he was a great baseball player. I believe his stats backed it up. And I wish he would have played in Yankee Stadium, because that was like a couple of minutes away from the Heights, and I feel like he was always in the Heights. I actually saw him in a nightclub one time when I went there, and he was just chilling, and it was like, oh, but you're in a Boston Red Sox, but he wanted to stay in Boston. So that being said, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Also, yes, please comment if you want to disagree, agree, say. We love seeing openness in the chat. We love hearing open opinions and getting that discussion. After all, this is Fan2Fan, and we'd be nowhere without you guys, the fans. So we are going to the Brooklyn Nets next, and recently there have been several reports, and those reports make sense, so we want to talk about it here on the show, about James Harden, the man who is in Brooklyn right now pretty much by himself for the next couple of weeks, because Kyrie is still on his I don't want to take a shot because I'm scared of getting a needle in my arm. Excuse me, I'm sorry, because it's not made of vegan juice or whatever he's trying to do.
Juice.
Whatever. Harden is now in charge of the Nets, and there are several reports that not only that there were two teams when he was traded from Houston that he wanted to go to, was the Nets, and it was the Philadelphia 76ers. Everybody knows that the 76ers, were the 76ers have Daryl Morey, who he's great friends with. The 76ers also have an owner who he has ties with, and he gets along with Joel Embiid. I'm sure he would love Doc Rivers. He came to Brooklyn for the hopes of winning a championship with these three guys. That was the goal. That was everything that he wanted, and he didn't get that. What he got is him by himself, chilling, looking up and saying, what am I going to do? Now, several comments, making comments about the fact that he is not in the option of getting free agency. He wants it. He wants to be in free agency. He wants to make a play. He wants to see who's going to come after him. Now, there's not many teams that are going to be able to afford him. That's the bottom line. Maybe a handful, maybe less than a handful. But the Philadelphia 76ers are one of them. The Philadelphia 76ers are one of those teams that could definitely be in the hunt. And here's the thing. Why not? Why not? He is an amazing player that has changed the game. I'm wearing his jersey at this particular time because he has changed my mind on Harden. Harden is a great player, and not because he's got the skills. We all know he can put up 40 anytime he wants on a good day. We all know that he has the ability to do the things that we want him to do. He triple-double, averaging close. He's a Russell Westbrook, but with better skills. But the fact that he came over to this team, adapted his skills because he said, KD's the star, I'm the second fiddle along with Kyrie. This is your team, KD. And he showed it last year. And if it wouldn't have been injured, I said it before and I'll say it again. If Kyrie doesn't get injured and James Harden doesn't get injured, that Bucks team ain't beating this team. It would have gone to 6 games, maybe. It went to 7 games with basically KD by himself. That's amazing. But James Harden is going to leave, and I don't even blame him because he has been left out to dry. He's been betrayed. He's been absolutely betrayed because at the end of the day, he wanted 3 stars. He's got 1 himself and only. He's got a coach that doesn't seem to, in his words, although I personally agree this is the best way to coach this team at this point, but in his word, doesn't have a set rotation, doesn't have guys that he counts on in clutch minutes. Harden doesn't like that. But the thing that I commend Harden about, he's not whining about it. He's not crying about it. He goes out there and plays. He played hard against the Los Angeles Lakers yesterday in a losing effort. And it was him. And he was passing the ball to wide open shots, and sometimes they were being made and sometimes they weren't. Here's the bottom line, and here's the question that I posed to the panel. If you are Harden, let's forget about what we think he's going to do. But if you are Harden, what are you doing? What are you doing right here in this moment? What would you do, and what would you do in free agency? Calvin, the floor is yours.
Oh, okay. What would wait, hold on. I got this. I have an eloquent response to all of this. I don't give a damn. I said he shouldn't have been there in the first place. You get what you get. Look, you know what? Dudes like him, I'm tired of. Like, for real. Like, I have absolutely no care that he is unhappy in this situation. Like, no slight on KD. He got hurt. You can't really say anything about that. He got hurt. But you was getting what you was getting. You thought you was going to be a sweeter deal in Brooklyn. All three of these cats thought that they were just going to come and just hand me the title, basically. We don't need coaches. We don't need this. We don't need that. You kind of get what you got. You in a situation. It is unfortunate in some way. And I usually like to be a sympathetic dude, but nah, not in this one, B. You came to Brooklyn. No. Because they came to Brooklyn trying to hijack New York, talking crap about the Knicks, saying we wasn't nobody, thinking they was going to be relevant and popping and the whole thing. And guess who cares about the Nets? Barclays Center. That's it. Like they said on damn First Take or something earlier, once you leave Barclays, all you worrying about is the traffic on Atlantic Avenue. Ain't nobody stunting the Nets. I don't give a damn if they never win a championship because you get what you get. You knew Kyrie was a nut job. KD was solid. And they traded away half the damn team for him. So what did they expect?
I'm gonna let Heidi go. First and foremost, and the problem is Barclays Center doesn't even care about the Nets.
I know they will literally cheer for anyone. They were cheering for the Lakers
which is
last
sad.
week.
And I'm gonna put that on who
it's Brooklyn, B.
This is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna let Heidi go. Heidi, please, if you're James Harden, what do you do at this moment, and what do you do end of season?
Well, first I'm gonna hit the strip club for win.
Get the way.
To settle my nerves and get my emotions in a positive place. And that's what I'm gonna do first.
Wow.
So what am I gonna do? Look. He doesn't have a lot of years on the clock left to get a championship. That's obviously what he wants. So, practically speaking, I think he wants free agency, even if it is just to re-sign with the Nets. He wants it. So he wants to have some options, and I think that if New York, if they're depending on what happens with COVID, if there's sometime this summer, if New York scales back its vaccination rules and Kyrie can play, I think he'll stay. If it does not look like that's going to happen and we're going to keep the vaccine mandate in place, then I think he'll leave. And Philly is as good a place as any for him to land. It's not warmer. They got strip clubs though, which is nice. And,
Brooklyn.
Manhattan has them. I don't understand why he can't just take a Uber.
I don't know.
Manhattan.
First, go ahead. Go to Manhattan, be in the Brooklyn Net. Go ahead.
No, I understand that.
Get flamed.
So I got some issues with what you said, Calvin. And Heidi, I agree. That makes sense. The one thing I will say really quick, Heidi, about what you said is apparently he's not liking living in Brooklyn. So I don't know what that's about.
Well,
apparently.
So first of all, and I love as a psychologist to point this out to people, it is not okay to confuse what something is like during a pandemic with what it is like, period.
I get it.
Right? And
You're
so
right.
he moved here and then a pandemic happened and then so he's judging pandemic Brooklyn.
Yeah, which is
Brooklyn is
horrible.
not my favorite borough.
But no,
I will say mostly because the white people have ruined it. Just to be clear.
Marcus is gonna agree with that. I already know that because he said that so many times.
Yeah,
This is what I want to say. I want to say this. So I got a problem with you, Calvin.
I know you do.
I got a problem with what you said because you come out here and you say and you sit there too. And you talk about the fact that the Brooklyn Nets started popping off at the Knicks. And they did. And you know why? Do you want to know why they started popping off the Knicks? Because the Knicks were a joke for 15 years. They weren't a joke for a season or two. They were a joke.
Actually, 20.
And
20.
here's the thing that
It's
you
fine.
need to understand. The one thing that you need to understand is that a lot of people dismiss the fact that Kevin Durant didn't want to go to the Knicks. He wanted to come to New York because of Kyrie, and Kyrie said, come to Brooklyn. And Kyrie didn't want to go to the Knicks because of the way the Knicks treated Carmelo Anthony on his way out. They treated him like trash, and he didn't deserve that.
Phil Jackson.
Then Phil Jackson did. James Dolan did. And you're going to tell me, forget about Phil Jackson. He's gone. James Dolan's still there. And the Knicks are still a laughingstock. Don't tell me one season's going to change that. What have they done for you lately? Nada. Not a damn thing. And here's the bottom line. The bottom line is that the Nets wanted to go for the gusto. They wanted to go for the throat. If the Knicks didn't want that to happen, they should have made it so that it couldn't happen. They should have been good, but they weren't. They were trash. And because they were trash, there was a wide open door to take the basketball New York world by storm. It was there for the taking. The Knicks didn't own that because they were trash. They hadn't done anything since 1999, and they got swept out of the finals because Chris Charles threw a Hail Mary throw to Patrick Ewing. We had no center. We had Marcus Camby, and he was guarding Tim Duncan and David Robinson.
All right.
It wasn't a legitimate sweep. We lost 4-1. But
That's that one game is sad. But
whatever.
Hold on.
You know who's a better big three for Brooklyn? Those 3 pigeons from Animaniacs. Remember those 3?
It is so ridiculous. And
yeah, those are a better big 3.
Here's the thing, and I'm going to say
more
this
solid
right
too.
now. Here's the one thing I'm going to say. I understand why people are upset when they traded for Harden. I didn't want Jared Allen to go, and now Jared Allen looks like one of the best centers in the league, and he's getting better every game. He's going to be an all-star. He's averaging he's averaging a double-double. He's putting up 6-7 blocks a game, making Cleveland look like they got defense, and I hated that. Karis LeVert hasn't really done anything since he left. He's been injury-prone, so you say, okay, I'm James Harden. I'm walking into ownership right now. I'm saying, here's the bottom line. I'm thinking about leaving. And I understand because this isn't their fault. It's not ownership's fault. It's not the ownership, Joe. He just wanted to win a championship. He brought these 3 in thinking, this could give us a championship. And every time they're on the court, they practically dominate. I think they're 17-2 of all the times they played together. Like it's really lopsided. Like them on the court, all 3 of them is dominant. So there was the right thinking, and Sean Marks did what he did. He pulled the trigger on getting James Harden, a superstar. A general manager who's doing his job pulls that trigger because the benefits outweigh the risks. That's what it is. You don't know what's going to happen. Any one of them could have got injured at any time with a career-ending injury, especially with KD's history. But you do it because in the moment it looks like the best thing. Now, I'm going to say I didn't like Jared Allen leaving. I'm James Harden. I say I'm about to leave. I have no problem doing a sign and trade. But we got to talk to Kyrie. Either he's going to play or he's not going to play because I'm not getting any younger. And the fact is I want to win a chip this year. That's the bottom line. And James Harden can say that. And I'm going to say to KD in the same breath. They'll be standing next to each other. Owner and KD, this is what I feel. And if Kyrie is going to sit up there, because right now Kyrie's just messing everything up. If Kyrie is going to sit up there and just like, I don't know. It's vegan. It's not a vegan shot, so I can't take it. Trade Kyrie. Get him into Philly. Trade him for Ben Simmons, and we'll see what we get.
I feel like we can't have a conversation about anything without yelling about Kyrie and the Knicks.
Can I say something though?
Jesus.
Is it about the Knicks?
No. It is the point of Kyrie, and I'm not going to yell. Because the point has been made by various people. Outside of the 2016 season, you were talking about a person that, yes, he has skill sets. We're not talking about that he can't play the game of basketball, right? He has a very great skill set. He doesn't seem to have the mentality, the maturity, and the ability, right, to make it past the second round.
Fair.
Right? So I'm trying to figure out why he was so lauded when, and this is not a shot at KD, but he went to an established team that was already winning championships, made them better. Not going to act like he didn't make them better. But outside of that, he hadn't shown a lot that he was that dude that was just going to lead. Like, it didn't translate. Not saying he can't. It just didn't translate. And James Harden was also a dude who had plenty of time on his own, had an owner and a GM who was ready to give him the world, and they tried to give him everything he wanted. And my man only made it to the conference finals one time and kind of fizzled out. So I'm not sure why they thought that collectively they were going to find a way to tear the basketball world aflame and ablaze, and all of these experts, you know,
You bother
just
me.
rode with that also. Like,
In the
it
words
wasn't
of
proven
Vegeta fighting
because
Cell, you bother me.
yes, but because also what it took to do that, the pieces that they would have needed, if somehow in a magical world they could have had those big three with the team that the Nets already had, oh, hands down, I'd have been like, yo, that's a squad. That's what they got. They're going to be taking like the next 7 championships.
We got to move on to the next topic where we're talking NFL football because we got to review the games that happened last week. But this is the bottom line. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this really quick. Okay. Mm-hmm. Every time they've been on the court together, and I'm saying this to everyone, you, Marcus, everyone, they have looked like the dominance they should be. What is messing them up is that they can't get on the court together, and it's mostly Kyrie at this point. Bottom line, if Kyrie betrayed KD, he didn't promise James Harden anything, so I feel like he didn't betray James, but he betrayed KD and he betrayed the Brooklyn fans, and that's why there's a lot of fans that say, I don't want to deal with this anymore. It's Kyrie's fault, and I'm sorry to say, I get that you're held in your beliefs, but we were talking about this yesterday, Heidi. Mm-hmm. If Kyrie... What was it that you said Kyrie should have done?
Oh, just left. Like, just pulled out of so that they could have his cap space back and they could make a team around Harden and KD, and that would be their sort of team identity, and then they would,
correct.
Two superstars is enough superstars if you do it right.
It's the truth, and I'm gonna say that, and then that's the thing. That's why I'm gonna leave it.
So his pullout game is weak. All right, cool.
Game is weak. What's up?
I knew he was gonna say that. Anyway, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We are talking NFL playoffs. That was last weekend, a very exciting weekend. We're talking football, and this is the way it stands. There's only out of the 3 favorites, there's only 2 left. There's only 1 left, excuse me, and that is Patrick Mahomes, number 15. In this picture, and the bottom line is that this was a weekend of amazing. That Chiefs and Bills game was absolutely. I saw the highlights. It was crazy, but the favorites are gone. There's Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers were a favorite. The Buccaneers were a favorite. They're gone. Tom Brady's gone.
I mean, seriously, what an exciting weekend, right? 3 games. 3 games decided on a field goal. One decided in overtime.
Yep.
In every instance, except you arguably the Chiefs and the Bills, because that you could have gone either way.
Yeah.
But in all of the other 3, like the dominant team taken out, or the team people like. I mean, again, the Rams and the Bucks, you could have gone either way, but the Bucks are the defending Super Bowl champions, right? So, like, pretty exciting. Pretty cool stuff. Like, I felt like the season felt really lively all of a sudden, which is fun.
It really was. Aaron Rodgers, I still say he's the best quarterback in the league. He just didn't look like it where it counts. He didn't look like where it counts. He was just really bad.
And honestly, their special teams let them down a lot.
It's the truth. Tom Brady, I mean, after what happened a couple weeks ago with Antonio Brown, I feel like that was messing him up. I feel like they had no game plan. All they had to do was focus on their one wide receiver, and the rest. And Gronk was like a non-affection. And then this is the person I feel bad for, Josh Allen. I mean, he had the lead with like 12 seconds left in the game, and then bam, they just tied the game and then won it in overtime. The NFL overtime rules need to change. They're sad. This fact that you get the ball first, you score first, game's over. You need to be able to like fight. You need to be able to have an opportunity to score again and tie the game and keep it going. And especially in the playoffs. If you're only going to do that, do it in the playoffs. And they didn't do it. But this is where it stands. You know, it stands where you got the Chiefs and the Bengals. Nobody picked the Bengals to be in this situation. Nobody picked the Bengals. If there's a person on this planet who picked the Bengals to be in the AFC Championship, even at the end of the regular season, right now they should give me like 6 numbers to pick to play lottery, because they know something we don't. And the fact of the matter is that the Chiefs, they've been there. They've been there the last couple of years, like every year in the Super Bowl. And then in the NFC, you got the San Francisco 49ers and the Rams. And it's going to be from Los Angeles. We're going to get to a second in to talk about, the Rams in a second. But I think the story is there is a clear underdog in this playoffs right now, and that is the Cincinnati Bengals. And I just want to ask this panel, Calvin, looking at this, you think the Bengals have a shot to beat the Chiefs?
Yep.
Really?
Yes.
Are you picking the Bengals to win? Do you think that's going to happen?
I'm not sure, but I do think that they have a legitimate shot. I like the way Joe Burrow has been playing in general. I watched him in college. He's kind of that dude. He still has that swagger and that mentality. They've already played this season also and played them well. Yeah. So that might actually work well for Cincinnati. Kansas City's defense is not stellar, right? So that's kind of where they don't have, to me, the overall, just now, granted, in everybody's mind, they're like, but they have Patrick Mahomes, so there's always a chance, because that's what they were saying about the game with the Bills, right? Like, there's always a chance if you're playing anybody else but Patrick Mahomes. Here we go again with this, this era of sports and them always crowning one dude just God or Superman or Super Saiyan, whatever. Super Saiyan Mahomes now. Right. And, Ultra Instinct Patrick Mahomes now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Patrick Mahomes is the second best quarterback in the league, in my opinion.
Look, I'm not saying that he don't have skills and all this other stuff.
And I think it's Josh Allen. I think those are the top 3 right now.
I would put Josh Allen above Aaron Rodgers.
Wait, what? You're putting Josh Allen ahead of Aaron Rodgers?
Okay, for all of the greatness that he has, it's translated to one Super Bowl and a lot of disappointing moments.
We're not talking about the history. We're talking, because then Josh Allen isn't even in a conversation. He's a baby when it comes to a quarterback. He's so young.
Let's talk.
I'm talking about skill. I'm talking about
recent history.
Skill.
I mean, but it hasn't translated. Right, some of it has to translate into wins and all the other stuff. All I'm saying is right now.
Let me ask you a question.
I would pick Josh Allen over Aaron Rodgers.
Let me ask you a question. You consider Dan Marino one of the best quarterbacks of all time?
You know I do.
Okay. He never won a Super Bowl.
I know.
His entire career. Come on now.
I
understand what you're saying, how it doesn't translate. That's a big part of it. But when we're talking about, I'm just talking about quarterback skill. Quarterback skill, I think it's Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. Okay, I'll throw in Russell Wilson as a top 5 quarterback. I think he's still great. I think he has a horrible offensive line and a horrible, he has no help, but he's still a great quarterback. And then there's a few other mentions, but this is the bottom line. But so who are you picking in this game, man?
You know what? I'm gonna go with the underdog in this.
Bengals.
I don't have a problem being wrong if I am, because
I'm gonna get to, and by the way, I'm gonna get to Will's comment in the chat. I looked down and woo, you really think those? I understand where it's suspenseful, but give the offense a chance to score once, please. Anyway, once.
I do think that defensive players do get paid to play defense, but I would say just add that other possession, right? So
yeah,
because the way it goes, if you score a field goal, the other team has a chance. But if you score a touchdown, it's automatically over. You can say whatever, see how that goes. But, I don't really have a problem with the game ending the way that it did, because, it's professional football, not college football. In college football, you kind of give
I agree with that.
You get that. I do believe also that Russell Wilson is overrated. A lot of the things that he did. Look, I'm here. I have a bird's eye view.
Yes, we do. We got to let Heidi get in. Go, Heidi,
Sorry.
please.
My bad, Heidi.
I'm gonna go Bengals and
Yes.
Rams, and
Yes.
I'll tell you why. Because I think
Yes.
because I think they are so evenly matched in both instances that I think it's going to be a psychological advantage. And I think the Bengals have a psychological advantage because of the momentum they have, being an underdog that keeps winning. And I think the Rams will have a psychological advantage because they have a home field advantage.
So
I actually think it's going to go to that because I think they're pretty close. I mean, like, you can pick either one and neither answer is crazy, right?
Well, I agree with that. I agree with that. Neither answer is crazy. Here's the reason why I think I'm going to go two steps really quick. So the Bengals do have that underdog mentality, but when you are battle tested in the battle that they had against the Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs should beat the Bengals pretty easily because this is a team, first of all, that has matched up very well with the type of offense that the Cincinnati Bengals run. They run a very run and gun offense. They run it's very like throw, run, throw, run, and the Chiefs have a better secondary than what they showed last week. So I think that they're going to step up. I think that they're going to take that confidence of beating the Buffalo Bills.
Do they have confidence when they barely did it?
Yes, because Buffalo is one of the
me,
best teams in the league. Buffalo.
I just don't know if eking out.
I will say this. The Chiefs do not lack confidence.
Yes.
Ever. Right? I think they are and they're a relatively young team overall.
Yeah.
They buy into the hype. They love being this prohibitive favorite. They can say what they want to, but they sometimes play with a lot of bravado, and sometimes it's way too much. You know what I mean?
I agree with that. I agree. Last year in the Super Bowl, they were feeling themselves a little bit, and then they got trounced by the GOAT. Like, that was what it was. Here's the thing that I'm going to say. I'm going to acknowledge, Will, you're making good points. I get that the Chiefs secondary doesn't have an answer. Jamar Chase he's a beast.
He torched them.
I know. I get it. And then the Buffalo, yeah, obviously they came so close to winning. And here's the thing that I'm going to say. The Niners have owned the Rams, except that Bosa is beat up. And without Bosa, that defense gets a little weird. It's almost like that one dude is their heart and soul, and they look night and day. But I will say, if they're on, that defense is better than everybody. But it's hard for me to go for the Niners, and I actually am rooting for the Niners to win the Super Bowl. I am a Niners fan from the 80s. I love the Niners. My grandmother was a Niners fan. I'm a Giants and Jets fan, but I like the Niners. But the thing that I'm going to say 100% is that the Rams really impressed me last week. And it wasn't just the fact that Tom Brady was off. It wasn't this fact that Tom Brady was off and Tom Brady was like really not playing offense. It was the fact that the defense was swarming him. The defense was making him look like there was no answer for that defense and those defensive schemes. It's hard for me to go against the Rams. And the thing that I heard, and this is what is being proven, people with a Northern California area code are not being allowed to buy tickets at the stadium. They don't want a situation that happened a couple weeks ago in the regular season where the Niners fans took over their home SoFi Stadium. And it's happening. They're like, it sounds petty, and I think it is really petty, but that's what's happening. They're not gonna let the Niners turn it into a home game for them. And I think it's gonna be Rams and Chiefs. That's my pick. Rams and Chiefs for the Super Bowl.
A question: Do you trust Matthew Stafford more?
Yes.
Or Jimmy Garoppolo?
I trust Matthew Stafford because Matthew Stafford has been to the crap. He's gotten past the crap, and he's proven that if you give him an offensive line that can guard him and you give him targets and weapons, he takes advantage of it. To me, Matthew Stafford has proved that he is a good quarterback, and he's good enough to win a Super Bowl. Jimmy Garoppolo, there's still moments where I look at him and I'm like, are you sure your head is on the field, or are you thinking about who you're going to sleep with after the game? But
he has been to the Super Bowl, although he lost it. He has been to the Super Bowl.
I understand
He
that.
has more experience than Matthew Stafford.
I understand that, but that is very much the Eli Manning syndrome, and the fact that he had an elite defense that got him to the Super Bowl, and he was just a game manager. Now, listen to me. Don't get me wrong. If that defense steps up, Matthew Stafford is going to have another thing coming, but I really do think that the Rams defense is going to make Jimmy Garoppolo not feel comfortable. They're going to hurt him. And I think that they're going to get all in that defense. Sam Darnold, oh my God, he's just so hard to guard. You put two dudes on him and he's still pushing him out of the way like he's the bully. Like it's crazy. I think it's good. So let me review. Calvin, you got Bengals 49ers?
I have the Bengals and the 49ers.
And Heidi, Bengals 49ers?
No, Rams.
No, she has Bengals and
Rams.
the Rams.
Sorry. And I got the Chiefs Rams. All right, we'll see. We'll see how that's going to work, because this is the way it is. This is what's going to happen. Who's going to be that? I am actually excited. I think I wouldn't mind if I was wrong, but I did pick the Chiefs versus the Bucks, and one of my picks is gone, so I'm going to stick with the Chiefs.
Will, who you got?
Huh?
I'm asking Will who he got.
Yeah, that's a good thing, Will. Tell us who you got coming out of the AFC and the NFC. I'd like to hear that very much. But hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We are moving on to the very, very last topic of the night, which is
Nice.
woo! We got that beat flowing. It is sports style coming at you, and I love the sports style. It is such a good beat, and it is such a great feel. We got that on the low that we are feeling good about it. Heidi, I want you to please take us through all the situations that happen, what's happening here. Please take us through what is going on today.
So you're going to show. So what we're showing today is a collaboration that was commissioned by Bleacher Report, actually, and it's a set of 5 artists. We're going to show some of the work of 4 of them. Basically, these are all professional artists at different times, and they were asked to kind of create unique styles for NBA teams. And so the stuff that came out of it was really cool. So
yeah, I mean, yes, of course.
Well,
Who's the first one?
Well, this first one is Susai.
Is it Susai?
T-S-A-I. Yeah, that's
Susai. Let's go.
Which is really cool. In these pics, you can see that's hold on, I can't actually see it from here. Which one is that?
I'm sorry. That is the Los Angeles
Lakers.
That's the Lakers one. So Susai is she's kind of like a feminine artist. She does a lot of like kind of, mosaic work, and so this is sort of her style married with the New York guys. You want to do Frank Miller?
Of course, Frank Miller.
Yeah. Frank Miller is known best as he's one of sort of a legendary comic book artist and illustrator. He's best known for his work on Batman and the Dark Knight. And so you can see in these pictures, it's a Golden State and Raptors looks that he designed. So again, it sort of it has a sort of like bloody and somber look of Frank Miller, which is really cool. Those are my favorite, actually, the Frank Miller ones. I think they're really cool.
I can't even say this dude's name, but I do appreciate. I think the Frank Miller ones are awesome, but this was
Bandaloo. There we go. So Bandaloo is a label. It's actually a designer label founded by a guy named Pat Peltier, and so again, this is sort of part of their signature style. It's sort of like transforming vintage things with custom embroidery, and paint splatter is a big thing that they do. So I love that one too. I love the Miami Heat bomber jacket. And then the last one is Greg Una, right? We have the Greg Una ones, which are dope. There's a cool Knicks one. So Greg Una is a New York City luxury jeweler.
Really?
And and so what he's done is these really, like, these are all, I don't know if you can tell, but like they're covered in gems. So that I know Joe right now is like thinking like, I got to get that Knicks one. It's covered in bling. And there's obviously the Lakers one, but it's pretty cool. I don't think you can put that in the laundry. I'm gonna say that right now.
Yeah.
But they're really cool. And the bigger picture thing is that, first of all, I like that Bleacher Report did this. It's like really creative.
Yeah.
You don't have to like all of them, but I love this direction the NBA continues to be the sports fashion forward of all of
They
them.
really do. They really do.
And the experimentation is actually really cool. So, yeah, and some of those are already sold. Like the Frank Miller ones are already starting to get your hands on. But if you're looking for them, you can look at NBA 75 artists.
So I will say that I normally I would be all for like, yo, a little bling on a little shirt, but you know what it reminds me a little bit. First of all, it's the first time. Yeah, it's bedazzled. Like it makes me say, I think that it's the first time where I'm like, for a Knicks, I don't like the Knicks logo. I think it's boring. I think it needs to be revamped a bit. But I've felt that for a long time. I feel like every other team is doing something a little bit different, and the Knicks are doing the same thing. Yeah. And so I actually think the design is hot. I actually like it. The jewels is just like, how do you wash that? Like, did you never dry clean it?
Frank
Like
Miller do like the entire NBA, like the Batman version of like every NBA logo. Like, how
Yeah.
cool is that?
I love it. Calvin, what do you think? What do you think about these designs, man?
They were all actually pretty dope. I appreciated every artist's, take in their unique style. Obviously, I love the New York one.
You're so predictable.
What's not to like? The Raptors one actually was pretty hot also.
Yes, it was.
You know what I'm saying?
That was actually my favorite.
Yeah. The Raptor one was pretty dope. Yeah, I like all of them though. I mean, even the Brooklyn joint,
Yeah, you see what I mean? The Brooklyn joint was hot. That was it.
The Nets one was a little, I don't know, like it was so feminine. It looked like the cover of the Giving Tree. Like it was so.
The
it was like
what?
a little
Well,
with the that like butter catching butterflies.
Yeah.
It does. No,
But,
you're right. It's
nice.
not good.
It's whimsical.
It's not
but
good.
It's just not my style.
It's no.
So
it's
obviously
not good at all.
Kyrie was
Like,
the inspiration behind that one.
That's right.
It's
That's what
not.
he's doing right now. He's
Yeah, look at him with a net.
Yeah, I don't like it at all. It actually looks very like weird and
I don't mind the
get it.
Bulls one. I think that's.
I don't get it at all. Like it looks very weird.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh, that green is hot.
Look, I think I want to say that once again, you said it. You hit the nail on the head. They're doing something fashion forward, and because they're doing it, I like it. There's a couple of shirts that I like. I think the Toronto Raptors, like that Toronto Raptors one, is really. I think that's the best one in my opinion. I think this one is the best one. I think that this one is like it has a style that is unbelievable.
It's the Dark Knight style. It's very Batman.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
that's it. Maybe that's it.
Go figure.
I like that. I like that a lot. By the way, Calvin, what do you think about the logo? Did the sports style logo?
Oh, that was hot. That was a surprise to me.
Yeah, it's getting a little thing. So what we want to do, and I want to definitely. I need
that on a T-shirt. Underdog put that on a T-shirt. Underdog put that on a T-shirt.
Underdog put it on a T-shirt.
I said they think we should put it on the T-shirt.
Oh yeah. I mean, look.
Oh no, the inside guys. They got Underdog. Underdog always put stuff on a T-shirt. I was biting the line that Shaq always says.
I think we need to have a fan-to-fan line. That would be dope. I think we've gotten a lot of logos. Thanks to Sierra of Moonlight Media, who is amazing. Every time we say we need a logo, she comes out with some really awesome stuff. But I think that is signing off for Sports Style.
Oh yeah, wait forevermore.
So, it has been a action-packed man, it's been a crazy episode that I just want to say we're coming to an end here. Calvin, it is good to have you back. We're going to be having a new episode of Heat and Receipts coming out this Friday, and we're talking Brock Lesnar, and we're giving our Royal Rumble predictions on that, so that's going to be fun. In the meantime, Heidi, you have a brand new episode of the of the 3 things to do.
I
So
do.
please.
Oh, well, I mean, this week's episode is, I mentioned last time, is about setting goals, and the one that's going to be coming out next week will be about helping other people through change.
Oh, that's helpful.
And then we have a lot of other fun topics coming down the road.
Good change or bad change? Or both?
Well, people don't usually need help through good change.
You never know. You get a little anxious. You get to start a new job that's really exciting, but you're also nervous.
But then there's some bad, like the uncertainty, right? I mean, if it's just positive, it's just like, hey, I showed up at your house with $1 million. Like, you don't need help.
I need help. If somebody showed, I wouldn't.
You would spend all the money on shoes.
That's not true. Wow.
Black and red ones specifically.
Black and red specifically.
You know what? I don't have a problem. Why do you keep saying that about me, Calvin?
All right,
I don't understand. I don't understand why you keep... Please explain why you think I have a problem with black and red sneakers.
It's not a problem. I just think that you have an affinity for the colored combination and wave of black and red together.
He does.
Or separately.
I often joke that I could get him to buy anything if I just gave him a black and red version of it.
I don't think I have a problem with red and black sneakers.
Yeah.
I think that
never said it was a problem.
No, and
I think
they're
you're being mean.
And they aren't sitting next to him right
I
now.
I don't understand what you're talking about. Like, there's nothing wrong with me. All I appreciate beautiful works of art.
In
and
black
it just so
and red
happens
specifically.
It just so happens that black and red is a very good contrast. I don't understand what the hateration is.
It is.
It's not a hateration. It's fine.
I swear I'm
gonna get you a Zach LaVine jersey.
One year when you come back to New York, which needs to happen soon. I mean, there's no plan in place. We're trying to work on that, but what needs to happen soon is like for Halloween. You need to dress up as Buck Nasty. That's what you need to do.
It's
I
fine.
think we're just making weird comments.
Anyway, Heidi, you know what? You go first and say goodbye to the people.
So I'm excited. Everybody tune into 3 Things to Do.
Please.
Thanks for tuning in, Calvin. It's wonderful to have you back, and excited to tune in more for more cool updates.
My feelings are, first of all, Marcus is a bad friend.
He is not.
Being mean to me about my beard, that hurt my feelings.
Oh.
Okay, I'm subconscious about my beard. It's the first time I've ever had a beard, and he's just bullying me and shaming me. That's okay. That's all right. And then my good friend Calvin bullying me and shaming me about my red and black contrast. I don't understand. It's just like horrible.
Do I need to start calling you Joseph Irving or something?
You're so mean. What do you want to say to the people? Please.
Hey, like I said, I'm like Luke Kennard in the bottom of in the last seconds of the fourth, baby. Clutch. Glad to be back. You know what I'm saying? Look, we got to enjoy life, enjoy sports. I love being on this show. In particular, I love being a fan, talking with fans, with other fans, and let's just continue to love life, love sports, love each other. Love y'all.
That's nice.
Future still bright.
This is the bottom line. This is my life. Okay? This is the beard straightener kit. This is what I talked about last week. It was amazing. It's changed my life. And those are my red and black amazing sneakers that are Jordans, and they're amazing. And you guys need to recognize the skills. No, I'm kidding. This thing is really amazing, and it was on Amazon. It's like $20. Comes with so much. Anyway, love you all. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, follow us at Fan2Fan Show, and on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And we thoroughly appreciate you. Watch us next week. We are going to be talking AFC and NFC championship winners. Were we right? We'll know. The Super Bowl will be ready to go. And it will be a fun thing to see. Also, what's going to happen with everything, because I feel like there's so many sports things that are happening. But one thing we know, sports is never ending, and we are fans. So Fan2Fan, peace out. Have a great night, and love you all. Be safe.